This mooring field here was devastation. There were boats up in the mangroves.
It's the fermentation time, the crush time. When we change grapes into wine, that's the key moment of winemaking.
My voice is a trumpet. I don't know.
It's Saturday morning. Kieran Bott and his wife, Cassie, are ankle-deep in puddle water.
Got it? Cool.
They're part of a group helping scientists understand how rising seas will affect their hometown.
I want to do my part for the city, and Miami's a beautiful place. We don't want it to be impacted by sea level rise in the way that the projections are sort of putting out there.
The projections say much of Miami is at risk of going underwater in the coming decades. In neighborhoods like this one, it's already starting. When tides are at their highest, seawater backs up through storm drains and into the streets. It's a wake-up call, says Florida International University's Tiffany Troxler.
Even for myself, I don't think I really appreciated how urgent the issue of sea level rise was until I saw the water coming out of the drain, and it just doesn't stop.
When the waters rise, cities need to know, street by street, who and what is at risk. And they need to know what combinations of conditions turn streets into streams and which just leave salty puddles. That's one reason Troxler has organized a platoon of volunteers to get their feet wet for science.
Who's ready to take some samples? Yeah!
Early this morning, students, teachers, and just plain folks gathered for donuts and training.
See through the eyepiece what the salinity is.
They learned a few simple techniques.
Put the filter on the syringe.
Then the citizen scientists fan out across the city, mapping where flooding happens and how much. And they sample for dangerous bacteria or chemicals that may be lurking in the floodwaters. For Troxler, citizen science is important for two big reasons.
It is a manpower thing because you simply can't cover the number of sites that we're working on today with the research infrastructure that we have at our disposal. But I want to say that it's just as important to engage people in this way so that we can communicate the issues of sea level rise.
Many don't know why the streets are flooding. It's an eye-opener for student volunteer Rosanna Oviedo.
I've probably seen it, of course, but I haven't paid attention because I didn't know what was it about. The sea comes and get floating in the middle of the street. So yeah, now we know.
And with each citizen science outing, Troxler knows a little more about how tides, weather, and other factors play out on the streets of Miami as the seas continue to rise. Hurricane Irma roared through Florida in September. Shipwrecks litter the Florida Keys in its wake. Rob Brumbaugh lives on a houseboat here.
This mooring field here was devastation. There were boats up in the mangroves throughout here. Many of the boats were on their sides or upside down or on the docks.
But Brumbaugh's marina was virtually untouched. He credits the ring of mangrove trees surrounding the docks.
Even just a little bit of mangrove can make a big difference. It made all the difference in the world for our marina. I'm convinced of it.
Brumbaugh is a marine scientist with the Nature Conservancy. He says mangroves' tangled branches and roots can offer protection from the more intense storms and higher seas that climate change is bringing.
We know that mangroves provide a physical buffer. They literally wring the energy out of waves when the waves pass through them.
And it's not just hurricanes. Mangrove roots hold the shoreline in place against everyday waves that can wash away beaches. That's just one reason Abad Milwani planted these mangrove seedlings at Miami's Rickenbacker Marina.
It's natural protection against storm surge, it's natural protection against erosion. It keeps all of the sediment and the shoreline intact, and then once they're fully mature, they also provide, this really vibrant ecosystem for juvenile fish, crustaceans, birds.
Tourists come to Florida to see the birds and catch the fish. Attracting tourists, building fisheries, protecting coastlines, Brumbaugh and the Nature Conservancy are working to show policymakers just how much mangroves will pay off, and that they're part of a larger network.
That's also beaches and dunes, but it's also the coral reefs that sit further offshore. So it's a multi-layered sort of system of natural infrastructure that can actually protect us.
Brumbaugh says their research is helping policymakers think beyond conventional concrete seawalls, especially when they fail in storms like Irma.
It just shows the limitation of our typical sort of gray infrastructure. It's good to a point.
He says natural systems can help protect the people and the wildlife that share the waterfront. Off the coast of Miami, divers are staking twigs of coral to the ocean bottom. These twigs were clipped from the University of Miami's coral nursery. Scientists working to restore degraded reefs recently discovered that corals grow faster when they're cut into smaller pieces, says project manager Dalton Hesley.
We can take a large boulder coral, fragment into a lot of small coin-sized pieces, increase their growth, and then fuse them back together to create a larger coral colony than we started with in a fraction of the time.
Branching corals like these work especially well. Hesley says the lab started 9 years ago with 30 finger-sized fragments.
We've turned those into over 3,500 in our coral nurseries. So that means any day of the week we can collect hundreds of these staghorn and elkhorn corals to transplant onto local reefs as a natural way to promote growth and recovery.
The group has transplanted more than 11,000 corals so far. But those corals face the same warming oceans that are killing reefs in many parts of the world. Hesley's group does not want their efforts to go to waste. That's why they're working with their University of Miami colleague, Andrew Baker.
So that instead of planting out the next set of coral victims, we're actually planting out corals that we think are going to be more heat tolerant in the future.
Corals get their food and their bright colors from algae partners called symbionts. But when the water gets too warm, they lose the algae. These bleached corals cannot live for long. But, Baker adds,
it actually provides an opportunity for corals to potentially change their algal symbionts and become sort of colonized by new types of algae that are maybe more suited to the new environment.
Baker's lab is stressing out corals and selecting the ones that recover best.
Despite having been really severely bleached just a couple of months ago, they've actually recovered really well, and you can see that they've started to grow new branches.
The next step will be to plant stress-hardened corals on degraded reefs and see how they do. The team is optimistic that they can give the reefs a fighting chance, but they know there's only so much they can do.
We can't rebuild every reef around the globe, so that's why education is the second biggest part of our program and our efforts.
They recruit volunteers to help rebuild the reefs. They teach them about the need for global solutions to climate change, and they hope these citizen scientists will help spread the word. Steve Barragona, VOA News, Miami.
My job, it's a blend of farming, of science and arts. My name is Mathieu Finot, and I am the winemaker here at King Family Vineyards in Charlottesville, Virginia. I grew up in northern Rhône in France, so in a place that's called Crozes-Hermitage. It's an appellation in France where we make wine. My father loved wine and always make me try good wine when I was a kid, and I really loved that. I feel like studying winemaking was a good link between my love of wine and my love of dirt. My job, it's a blend of farming, of science and arts, because we need Mother Nature to ripen the grapes and to make grapes good, to make good wine. So that's the natural part. I need science to understand all the fermentation part and the aging part and everything that happens to the wine. And I need the artistic part, that is what makes each winemaker unique and what brings the human factors into producing wine. Harvest time, it starts here around late August and it's going to end up late October. So I've got 2 months and a half where my life's going to be crazy. That's the key moment of winemaking. It's the fermentation time, the crush time. That is when we change grapes into wine. I always wanted to travel. And for me, traveling was a part of learning. It's not only learning about winemaking, but you also learn a lot about yourself. You learn that not everybody thinks the way you do, and you learn to listen to people. When I first arrived here, I didn't know where was Virginia on the map, to be honest. I know very few about United States, never been to the United States before. It turned out to be that I'm loving it here. I think if you live with your passion and if you're passionate with what you do, then I think your life will be happier and then you get probably more smile on your face.
现在别说在美国呀，现在国内啊，很多人都是呢，把白酒已经放下了，不喝了，改了红酒，因为这个酒精含量也够，然后对人身体还好，软化血管啊什么的，反正是不。现在人也在随着社会的进步啊，也在变嘛。
It's interesting because the Chinese market in Napa is the fastest growing international market that we have, according to the statistics from our Napa Valley, Visit Napa Valley, our visitor bureau here in Napa Valley. China was the #1 international market in the Napa Valley last year.
那个赤霞珠就是很不错，对，感觉口感还好。
对我来讲是可以看到我们这一个专业，包括我的学长学姐还没有那么多的中国人，而现在和我的同级还有我下一届的学妹学弟们，他们人数是越来越多了。
在亚洲，尤其是中国，也是大家越来越有钱，所以这个也是一个特点。
中国现在其实葡萄酒才刚刚开始，以及还有我们之前有很多葡萄酒进口，到现在我们有了自己开始建造很多新的葡萄园，葡萄苗还在生长当中，所以感觉是一个新生命的诞生吧。对，所以中国的葡萄酒还有很大的希望。
The wine culture in China now is not very good because most people they don't know how to taste the wines. But so we still have a long way to do and to teach the Chinese people how to taste the wines, how to enjoy our wines.
We'll talk about it in a few minutes. Two, there's a replacement.
They want to
go back home with the best practice in order to be able to produce the best wines they can. And probably in a decade or 2 decades, Chinese, some of them will be alumni of our programs, but Chinese people will be able to produce very qualitative wines at a large scale.
For the young generation, they are more open-minded to the French culture and French wines, so maybe they knew much more better than the old generation. But for the upper class or middle class people, a lot of people, they want to consume wines from different regions like Orientally. They're trying to discover new things, and it's kind of a symbol of wealthy and luxury thing for them.
Chinese people, like all the new consumer, they come with the books and they tell me, I want this one, this one, this one.
What's important about it? The Chinese wine industry is developing rapidly. The quality of their wine is improving substantially, and they are learning what works well.
Freedom of expression. It's complete freedom of expression. Music is this magical force that comes from the universe that allows people to connect. I love trumpet. I love the trumpet. And my voice is a trumpet. I don't know. I made the grand proclamation to my parents when I was 7 years old. I'll never forget, kind of walking down the hallway in our house. I said, when I grow up, I am going to be an internationally known jazz singer, and I'm going to be well respected by musicians, and I'm going to live in Paris, France, and I'm going to buy you a house and a car. My poor mama. My mother shook her head a lot with me. She just didn't know what to do with me, you know. I tried to run away when I was 7, you know. I went outside and got one of those long branches off of a tree, and I made my little knapsack like a hobo. And I don't know where I was going. I just needed to go. I think that was a clue to the kind of gypsy spirit that I've always had. Music for me is freedom of expression. It's complete freedom of expression. Music is this magical force that comes from the universe that allows people to connect and allows for positive energy to flow and to reach out and to massage the hearts and the bodies and the spirits of the people that receive it. That's what music is for me. I don't think I'm coming home tonight, blackbird bye. I could always sing. I thought everybody could sing because I could always sing. And I never had any formal training. You know, I never had any kind of music training. I don't play any instruments. I don't read music or anything. So I was like surprised that my mother couldn't hold a note, and I was surprised when my sister went to sing and those notes didn't fall right. But it was when I was 16 that I made the decision that I really wanted to sing. And I never thought that my voice was black enough because I sang jazz and I didn't know how to do all of those riffs, and you know, and I came out of the Catholic Church, so I had no reference. I remember thinking, I'm going to prove that I'm black and that I can sing like, you know, a black woman. Memphis, Yes, I'm Ready it's like a dream come true for me. It's me living out a fantasy that I had as a teenager. It's me doing some blues songs, it's me doing some soul songs. It's me being able to have fun, me, for myself. It's my selfish moment in my life at 67. The music is the magic of a secret world. I have to do the things that I believe in. and I believe very much in this project. I want to bring attention to Memphis again. I want the young people to know this period existed. I don't know, I think there's a movement going on that is bringing attention back to this city, and it's my birth city, and I've decided I need to own it, you know, and I'm just a child of the world. No, I'm from Memphis. I am from Memphis, and we say Memphis.
It's me. This guy, why? Oh, so ugly you are.
The 2018 New York Taxi Drivers Calendar is out, and this year's international models from 7 different countries are looking to brighten your year. In its 5th year, the calendar's creators say 2018 may be their best edition yet, a feat of photography that requires considerable courage on an open set.
There's people walking by and looking and taking pictures, so it is really amazing that the drivers sort of show up, and by the end of it, they're models.
Models of every age, shape, and background.
The 2018 pinup sheds light on a more intimate side of the diverse men and women behind the yellow cab wheel. Just in time for summer, you'll be graced by the irresistible gaze of Dan, along with Mr. September Hassan, who likes to have his cake and eat it too.
Oh my God! Wow!
We'll come in with 2 to 3 sort of scene ideas, and then we'll gauge the comfort level and the playfulness of each of the drivers and kind of try to fit that scene to their personality.
Some, like the self-proclaimed karaoke king, coverman Alex Wong, are born stars, even if they're only a little famous.
It's difficult to let everybody remember you. Everybody know you, right? You only be president, everybody know you. I'm a little driver, so I'm already happy. Some people know me.
But he wouldn't mind if even more New Yorkers and tourists were to find out about him.
I will show all the passengers I was in the taxi calendar. And coverman Alex Wong.
Ramon Taylor, VOA News, New York.
This project was for me a perfect excuse to get to know the city better and get out there and discover what's going on around me.